Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the League Racing TV YouTube channel for round 4 of Season 4 of TTML Division 3. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Carmensis. I'll be taking you through proceedings on a Thursday evening as per usual, and joining me once again in the commentary box tonight is Mr. TTGA Conti. Conti, how are you doing this evening?
As always, really good, and again, excited to be here.
Yeah, it looks like we're already off to a great start this season, and yeah, I'm sure that it's going to continue on. We come to Canada for the next round of the championship. We've had 2 rounds at the very start where strategy hasn't really played that much of a part. It's been more about the raw speed of the driver. China was very much about strategy, as will Canada be as well. Canada's another one of those tracks where strategy plays a heavy part, and already after 3 rounds, we have 3 different race winners, which is completely different to what we had last season. Obviously, last season we had 3 winners in total across the 11 races. So, really excited to see that we've already got 3 drivers right up there, and still a really close fight for the title at the moment.
Yeah, especially top 5 guys, still really close together. Behind Graham is Jabu on P6. That's a little bit of a gap there, but still everything to play for. And an exciting championship like what was it, 2 seasons ago? We had a lot of winners then as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, great stuff here.
Yeah, really great to see. It's great to see that the field is so close at the moment. It has been a really tight division so far. There's plenty of people in this field that could get a win on the right day if they're in the right mood and if they're feeling up to the challenge. Let's talk you quickly through the championship standings as it is at the moment. Simply Superman still leads the way after another podium last time out, a second place finish for the Alfa Romeo driver. David jumps up into second after his first win in TTML, which was great to see. He continues his upward trajectory in improvement in Formula 1. He's on 66 points. He is currently 7 points behind Simply Superman in the championship. Secret DJ Jill holds third, winner of the first round of the season. Was running in second place early on, late on in the last race in China, but then had contact with the back of David's car and dropped because of front wing damage. Jan in the second Racing Point is 5 points behind Secret DJ Jill in fourth after another podium for the Racing Point driver, a third place finisher himself. Graham in fifth, the other one that's right up there. He's a podium sitter so far this season and has been incredibly consistent. The rest of the top 10 is made up by Jabu, like you said, on 38 points. He's 1 point ahead of Kiki, who is 4 points ahead of Hiro Jokin, who is 5 points ahead of Langfell and Kieran Trapp, who are both on the same points, equal in 9th place. So, still a lot to play for, and already we saw last week, didn't we? Saw Langfell, well, especially Langfell, and we saw Kieran Trapp both get their best results of the season, and they're already back inside the top 10. So, one good week, and you could jump right back up the standings.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of the point system we're running here. Until even if you finish on P19, you can get a point that could really help you in the end of the season. So because of that point system, it's really close, and no one loses anything. Even if you have a crash or a bad moment, people tend to give up in other leagues. Here you still get points, so no point in giving up. So I think that's a big plus on the point system.
Yeah, definitely is a very good plus, like you say. Got to say though, in terms of championship and speed-wise, there's one person at the moment, isn't there? Definitely that's kind of out of position, and that is Tom, currently 12th in the standings on 25 points. Didn't take part last week, wasn't able to get here for the race on time. 25 points in 12th place. He needs a good result now, doesn't he, if he wants to get himself back in the running?
Yeah, he does, and I'm sure, what we've seen from him last season, he has the qualifying speed, he has the race speed, so. I think he will be, and he will for sure. He will be climbing up the standings further on in this season.
Yeah, he definitely will. We're right on board, though, with Jan in the Racing Point. He's going to be the first person to take us through a lap around the Montreal circuit. 14 corners awaits, and then as he heads through the first part of the lap, the majority of corners here made up of chicanes. It's very difficult to get a good flow around this track. Very easy to invalidate. Jan says a 19.1 for the first sector. Not a bad first sector, but we might see people dip into the 18s. A big snap of oversteer coming out of turn 7 and down the second of the 3 DRS straights we have at this track into the chicane of 8 and 9. Probably the most difficult chicane to absolutely nail. He keeps it on the road nicely this time around. No problems on the exit of turn 9 as he heads up towards the hairpin of turn 11. A 40.8 in the middle sector again. A little bit off what we could see from some drivers later on in the session through the kink of 11 and then up towards the kink of 12. It's now the final DRS zone on the track. 2 DRS zones in succession here. down the back straight and down the pit straight as he heads up to the final chicane, turn 13 and 14, the famous Wall of Champions. So many people have hit the wall here in real life Formula 1 in the past. Nailed that chicane nicely, just clipped the grass on the exit of the corner. Did Jan as he heads up towards the line, and his first time in the session is a 1 minute 8.7. It's not a bad banker lap, it's at least a banker lap on the board, which might be quite difficult for some drivers to achieve, but you've got to say that we're likely to see people dip into the low 8s, possibly into the 7s if they nail a lap.
Yeah, I think we will definitely go into the sevens, and I think Paul should be around the 7-7, probably. Should be possible. I was on board with Tom, who started his first lap around this track on the mediums, probably to get a feel of the car and the track, and didn't do that bad. A 109.6 on his medium tires.
Yeah, not a bad time, like you're saying. He's only 100th of a second slower than Flores at the moment. Atlas Copo just crosses the line, goes P7. Sean goes P8 once again on the medium compound tyres. Currently in 8th place, a 9.5. He goes a 10th and a half clear of Tom on the same compound of tyres. At the front of the field, it's Hero Jokin that currently holds the provisional pole position. We're still yet to see some drivers set competitive laps, so both Red Bulls are currently out on laps at the moment. Graham has just gone through the first sector. Steve had invalidated his first run in the Mercedes, so it's not the best start to the qualifying for him. We've still got people sat in the pits. David's winner last time out hasn't gone out onto the track yet, neither has DJ Gill or Langfeld. Graham crosses through the second sector split, a 40.7 for the Red Bull driver, a 10th up on what we saw Jan do at that point in the lap. It's challenge the front row as it stands, but it could be enough to possibly getting up into third if he can nail this final sector. Then is he getting a little toe off the Ferrari in front? It's a little bit far up the road off the McLaren, sorry, so I don't think he's quite going to be able to really gain anything from him as he heads into the final chicane. A little bit of understeer in the first part, but gets the car nicely hooked up for the second part of the chicane. Up towards the line, Graham, 5th in the championship, goes 4th, just ahead of Secret Dundee. 1 minute 8.5, goes half a tenth slower than Nelly, who continues his upward trajectory in qualifying pace. Kieran Trapp, off the back of his best result last time out, crosses the line, goes P7 on an 8.9, just ahead of both Ferraris. Both Ferraris had a horrendous race last time out, a great qualifying, with it was 2nd and 5th for the two Ferraris in qualifying last time out, and Jabu has had a great start to the season, but Stinny, you've got to say, looks like he could have had the pace to win last time out with that second place in qualifying, and it fell apart for him almost immediately.
Yeah, it was. It's a really, really quick guy, and in quali as, but in the race as well. But yeah, just too many mistakes, and that's Division 3. It's so close. Every mistake just costs you massively, championship-wise. So yeah, you really need to keep your act together here to be able to compete with the top guys here.
Yeah, you really do. You've got to be on your game all the time, like you mentioned. So that's going to be one thing to note, if who can keep that up. Simply Superman is now on a lap. 2 pole positions in a row for the Alfa Romeo driver for him. Pole in Japan, pole in China. Managed to convert Japan into a win. Wasn't quite able to keep up in the race with Secret DJ Jill and David. Had a good race nonetheless anyway, did the Alfa Romeo driver. Just wasn't quite fast enough in the race conditions. We'll see what he can do at Canada, another track where strategy does play a heavy part in the race. He comes up towards the final chicane. Where can he put that Alfa Romeo? Can he knock Hero Jokin off the top spot for the time being? Nice and committed through the final chicane to the right hand side of the track for the shortest one to the line, crosses the line, and he does go on to provisional pole on an 8.2, goes half a tenth clear at the front of the field. It's still very close, but once again, Simply Superman, after the first runs, is right back to the top of the timing sheets. He definitely does love that pole position, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He really likes to get every point possible for his championship chances, because pole position gets you points as well. But yeah, great lap from him, and you can see his qualifying is on point week after week, and yeah, really have to say respect for that, because it isn't easy to, especially one lap pace where every mistake can cost you an invalidation, or in the worst case, one of your tires to blow off. As Secret DJ Jill, a 179.
Wow. I had a feeling
clear of Simply Superman.
I was about to say I had a feeling that DJ Jill might just actually come to about blow Simply Superman's time out of the water. He was half a second up on Graham by the end of the second sector. Whoa. And that time was set with a big mistake coming through turn 10 as well. So there's more time on the board for DJ Jill, but 3/10 clear around a track that's only 14 corners and only 1 minute 8 in length. That is a big, big margin to have. This is one of the shortest tracks in terms of time on the calendar. In fact, it's the second shortest behind Austria on this game. So it is really, really difficult to have a big gap at the front of the field. But DJ Gill, 3/10 clear after his first run in qualified. That is going to take some beating from anyone who think they can get close to it.
Yeah, and that just blows my story wide open of Simply Superman getting pole week after week. He really is gonna yeah,
it's going to
do
be a
more
fight.
than his best. Yeah, it's gonna be definitely gonna be a fight.
Yeah, Langfell up to the line, goes P9 in the Williams and 8.7. Jan improved, by the way, to go up to third on an 8.2. He found half a second on his second run in qualifying, so there seems to be a bit of track improvement out there at the moment. DJ Gill, obviously, he took the pole position in the first round of the season, so we've definitely got our two qualifying merchants, it seems, for the season so far in DJ Gill and Simply Superman. Can anyone else get in and amongst that battle at the moment? People are just starting their next runs in qualifying as it stands. We've got people currently on laps that haven't set competitive time so far. Flores is currently on a lap, but he's only 0.08 of a second up on his personal best. Felgen's on a lap. He hasn't set a time yet. Neither has Steve. Steve through the second sector, a 40.8 wouldn't be quite enough to really challenge in the top half of the top 10 as it stands. It's going to be very close in qualifying, as I mentioned. I think Stinner's going to be the next to cross the line. Currently 13th, was on the front row last time out, crosses the line, goes onto the front row with a 1 minute 8.1. He finds almost a second in his second run, so that suggests to me there was maybe some sort of mistake in his first run in qualifying, but Stinner once again up there, second at the moment.
Yeah, that shows he really has speed. As Steve puts down a 108.6 and is in ninth position now on his first valid run. But yeah, Stinner, really fast guy. He shows it here again, and yeah, just mingling in the battle of well, a lot of guys now. I mean, he closes the gap between Simply Superman as Nelly goes for a 108.1. Nelly really improved his qualifying this season. It's incredible.
Yeah, it really has been an up in qualifying for the Haas drive. The race pace hasn't quite improved as much as this qualifying pace has, but any improvement in qualifying pace puts you in a better position in the race. So second at the moment, that could be his best qualifying in this championship so far, if he can hold on to it. David just went onto the board there with a 1 minute 8.5 in the racing point, his first time in the session so far. Not quite up there with his racing point teammate Jan and David, but Jan and David, they're not really known for having the best qualifying speed. They didn't qualify very well last time out in China either. I say that David was, I think, on the second row, but Jan was down in ninth after the qualifying session. It's more the race pace where the two racing points shine. That's really been their strength so far this season. Still seeing if more people are coming through to set times. I think Sean will be the next person, I think, to come and set a time. Actually, no, it won't. That is his teammate diving into the pit lane. So it's going to be one of the Haas cars, I believe. It is going to be Flores, maybe the other one. Oh no, that's Nelly still out, so I still can't find out who the next person's set time is going to be. It would have been Kiki, but he's invalidated fairly early on. So Kiki, the only person at the moment that hasn't set a time.
Yeah, and this just shows it's a really difficult track and easy to invalidate, and in the race easy to pick up penalties, especially in the final chicane. As you mentioned, Wall of Champions took a lot of champions, but they will probably add a lot of time to some drivers their end result as well.
Yeah, definitely will. Tom crossed the line, but his lap time was invalidated. The lap would have only been good enough for 8th on the grid, so that isn't much of an improvement. That 8.9 that stands for him at the moment was set on the medium compound tyres. Someone else has just set a time. That is Sean. A 1 minute 9.1 has gone to 16th on his first lap on the soft compound tyres. The gap in pace, really, between the mediums and the softs here is not that large. It's quite a small gap, just because simply there's not a lot of corners at this circuit, so there's not a lot of time to gain. But compared in the two different tyre compounds, I think simply Superman's just coming up to the line to start his next run in qualifying. Next, one of the next cars across the line, I think, is going to be Graham. He's going to be starting his final run, and Hansen currently has just dived into the pit lane. Actually, Hansen's just dived into the pits. He was on a lap, but he had invalidated. So 7th at the moment for Hansen. He was another person who had a great qualifying. I believe it was in Silverstone where Hansen was right up there in qualifying. The race just didn't go his way at all either. Hansen, another one of these drivers, similar to Stinner in a way, that he's got really, really good speed, just hasn't been able to convert it yet in the race.
Yeah. Ooh, I was on board with Secret Dundee. He was on a okay lap, but just smacked the Wall of Champions sideways. So lucky to not lose his wheel and ends his run here in quali. But yeah, Hansen, also a very fast guy, and I think we're gonna have lots of fun with it, watching him in the future. But same as with Stinner, if your consistency isn't on point in this division, it costs you. So yeah, it's a fast driver. It's a spectacular driver to watch. but has to get some more consistency in his race pace driving.
Yeah, he definitely does. He's got it's kind of similar in a way to what we saw from Funky Chicken really last season, isn't it? That he came into the season great pace, but wasn't quite able to get the most out of it, and then improved as the season went on. Speaking of Red Bull
Yeah.
drivers, Graham's coming up to the line, goes 8th on a 1 minute 8.4, but he broke his front wing at the final corner. He was pushing so hard, so he's up into 8th place. Then he lost a bit of time in the middle part of the lap. He was nearly 2 tenths up on his personal best by the end of the first sector. Lost about a tenth of that in the middle part of the lap, so there's still more time on the board for Graham. It's still though so incredibly close inside the top 10. And just outside as well. If you go from David in 9th all the way down to Langfell in 13th, it's just 2 tenths covering those 5 drivers. David was on a lap. Actually, he's on an out lap. He's just starting a lap now. We're seeing if he has accidentally invalidated before the start of his next run. No, he hasn't. He's able to continue on with this lap, so he'll be the next person to do a lap time. Kiki is actually on a lap as well in the Alfa Romeo, still without a lap time. He's got to do it on this run, and he's invalidated. So Kiki at the moment is not looking good for Kiki. He's another driver who's got incredible qualifying and race speed, but just can't get the best out of it. Something happens in the race, whether it's a mistake or an incident with someone else. Nothing ever seems to go Kiki's way. He's got the pace, just cannot keep it together in race conditions.
Yeah, it's. I think actually he's just pushing too hard. In quali, of course, you can have some bad luck sometimes, or an off day, as he probably has today, because it's nothing for him to not set a lap time. But in the race, he tends to. I think he tends to try and do just quali laps in the race, and you can't do that. You just have to dial it down a bit, and it will cost you a couple of tenths in the race, but at least it will get your car to the end. And if he does that, he's really competing with the guys at the top, because it is a fast driver.
Yeah, David was on an improving lap, but then went and cut the final chicane by a hefty margin. So that lap time was invalidated for the second place man in the championship. Then currently 9th on the grid, which is where his Racing Point teammate started last week. It worked out quite well for Jan last week, but it doesn't mean it's going to work out well for David this time around. DJ Gill still holds the fastest time at the moment. No one has been able to get close to DJ Gill, still with that 1 minute 7.9, and we know he has more time on the table. So we'll wait and see what he's able to do. You've got to say though, at this point in qualifying, unless we see a mega lap from someone else, DJ Gill's got this in the bag.
Yeah, I think so. He just started his final run, but yeah, I think you're right. I think just him setting this time with a massive mistake, which cost him 2 tenths at least. He's got to be the favorite for pole position today.
He really is. Yeah, Sean at the moment coming on a lap as well. Tom has crashed coming out of turn 9, so his really unimpressive season so far continues. Currently 15th on the grid, crashes out of the session, so that is not what he would have wanted. Sean was nearly 4 tenths up on his personal best in the middle part of the lap. See if he's been able to sustain it for the final part of the lap as well. See, he's currently 16th on the grid. Can he get to the front of the field? He crosses the line, goes 9th. A good improvement for Sean, then inside the top 10 for the Mercedes driver, but it looks like he could get knocked out of that top 10 very, very shortly as everyone comes out for their final runs. DJ Gill is absolutely flying, 3 tenths of a second up in the middle part of the lap. Coming into the final sector, which is where he made the mistake on his last run, nails the final chicane. This could be a mega lap from DJ Gill. He crosses the line, a 7.5. What a lap from DJ Gill. Goes 4 tenths faster than his own personal best. He's on pole around the second shortest track on the calendar in terms of time by 6 tenths of a second. What a lap from DJ Gill, and that is going to make a lot of drivers think about this race, isn't it? These drivers in this race, they're going to have to hope for some bad luck for DJ Gill, or they're going to have to try and get a mega start to stop him from running away.
Yeah, they really have to, because this is just, he's showing great pace. 1.75 is incredibly fast. I don't know what the guys in Division 1 did, but I think it's close. This is close to their pole position for sure. Because great. And if I was Nelly or Stina or simply Superman and I saw someone putting on a time like this, it beats on your morale.
It definitely does. Yeah, Kieran Chapp was the next across the line on a lap, but he was well off his time, 2 seconds down on his personal best, so he's not improved. He's going for another run on the same set of tyres. We're just waiting.
Graham crashed.
Oh yeah, he has. Yeah, coming through. That's turn 7. I think he's coming out of. Yeah, he's spun the car. So Graham on his next lap in qualifying has spun and broken his front wing. That is his session over. Then 8th is the best that Graham can hope for in the session so far. We're just waiting for the last 2 people to come up to the line. Langfeld crossing the line now with one of the McLarens just behind. That's Hero Jokin giving themselves their final run. David, who should hopefully get to the line in time, but it's going to be very close as to whether he does or not. It's going to be Kiki, the first person to finish their final run in qualifying. Currently 20th, has finally set a valid time, but it's only enough for 14th on the grid. David's not made it to the line in time. Felgen goes 8th with an improvement to an 8.3. A great lap for the McLaren driver, and I think his debut here as a reserve tonight. Next to cross the line is going to be Kieran Trapp, then currently 16th on the grid. He's getting a lovely tow from his teammate down the back straight, but is it going to be enough to catapult him inside the top 10? But he invalidates at the chicane. That's it. That is his qualifying session over. Only 16th for Kieran Trapp. Hero Jokin has crashed on his lap as well. Next to the line comes Hansen, currently 7th, stays 7th on the grid. Nelly's dived into the pit. He's given up on his lap. Flores only 18th on the grid in the end of the session. Then Atlas Copo coming up towards the end of the lap is half a second up on his personal best. Currently last on the grid. Hasn't had the season he would have wanted so far. Can he throw himself inside the top 10? Currently 20th. Goes 10th, a good improvement from Atlas Copo, and that's his best grid slot of the season so far. That is qualifying over apart from Langfell, but he's invalidated and will only start 16th on the grid. Qualifying then is officially over. No one really could improve on their final runs apart from Felgum and Atlas Copo. In the end, they're the only ones that found any time on that final run. And DJ Jill, 6.5 tenths clear at the front of the field. That has got to be the biggest pole position margin we've had in Division 3.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's the biggest pole position margin we've seen in Division 3 ever in all 3 seasons.
Yeah, that is yeah, I don't quite know what to make of that. That is an absolutely stellar lap from DJ Jill. 3rd in the championship, a race winner this season. On pole by 6.5 tenths of a second. It's fair to say I think Secret DJ Jill might like this track. I think that's a fair assumption to make. Nelly,
that's an understatement, I think.
Definitely an understatement. He might be one of the designers for this track. Who knows? It's Nelly on the front row alongside Secret DJ Jill. So Nelly's best qualifying of the season and in TTML to date. That's a great lap from the Haas driver. Stinner once again up there in 3rd. Championship leader Simply Superman in 4th ahead of Jan 5th. Hero Jokin, ODD, Hansen, Felgen, Graham and Atlas Copo round off the top 10. Sean, the first person in that alternate strategy spot in 11th. David, winner last week, 12th on the grid only for him and a 2nd off pole. Steve ahead of Dundee, Kiki, Langfell, Kieran Trapp, Tom Flores and Jabu are your qualifiers. And at the back of the field, you've got to say, in the bottom 6 on the grid, there are 3 or 4 big names that have the pace to be consistently finishing inside the top 5, but just couldn't get a good lap in.
Yeah, and that was, I think, most of them because of track limits. They just invalidated on important moments of their qualifying laps, and then it's quali over. But the positive thing is we can see them fight back up through the pack.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting race. Canada always is an interesting race in league racing because it isn't a traditional one-stop strategy around this track, is it? It's such a short pit lane. You cut off the final chicane and the first 2 corners on the pit exit here as well, so you only lose relatively about 14 or 15 seconds for a pit stop here, which makes that 2-stop strategy very, very viable. We're going to see probably, you'd say, the majority of the field go for that 2-stop strategy. The 1-stop around here is possible, but if you're going to try and pull the 1-stop off, you've got to get in clean air very quickly, haven't you?
Yeah, I think that's only possible if you can drive away from the rest of the drivers and just save up your tires, because it's going to be really hard to keep up your pace if you're going for a 1-stop. But yeah, if you want to try something else, you can. I mean, I'm most comfortable with the soft, medium, medium, but you can go for a soft, medium, soft, and that's possible, and you're way faster at the end of your stint.
Yeah, you definitely are. There's a lot of strategies here that can play out. It's pretty much identical strategy-wise to what we see at Mexico, and that obviously produces very good racing as well. So this is going to be a very interesting race. It looks like we're not going to be weather affected as well. I say that. I might have just jinxed it for later on, but who knows. It's nice and sunny, at least for the moment. It's nice and sunny for these drivers. Let's have a look, though, at those tyre choices outside of the top 10 then. And it is a bit of a split in strategy. No one then has gone for the hards as you would expect around this circuit. The hard compound tyres do not yield a lot of grip in the early phases. We've got Sean, David, and Steve 11th through 13th on the mediums. Secret Dundee is on the softs in 14th. Kiki and Langfell and Kieran Trapp have gone for the mediums. Tom, interestingly, has gone for the softs 18th on the grid. He's looking to make places very early on in this race. Flores and Jabu 19th and 20th on the grid on the medium compound tyre. So a little bit of a split outside the top 10. The majority, though, going for that medium compound tyre. The problem with this track is that the softs are fast here. The softs don't tend to overheat around here. The problem for the softs is how quickly they wear. They wear at a massive rate around this track of somewhere close to 6 or 7% per lap. So while you're not necessarily going to struggle for pace as such in the early phases because of overheating, by the time you get to the end of the stint, you're going to have absolutely no rear grip.
Yeah, yeah, and you've got because you've got a lot of chicanes and slow corners. You really need that grip on your back tires. On the exit of the corners, and yeah, that's probably why a lot of people end up in the Wall of Champions in the later half of your soft stint. As I only see Secret DJ Jill. What happened to the rest of the guys? Oh, they're just way behind there. Secret DJ Jill already was racing them on the formation lap.
I think DJ Jill laying down a marker there of how far ahead of the field he wants to be by the end of lap 1, but that is one of the fastest formation laps I think I've ever seen in e-racing. He was on the grid half a minute before anyone else rounded the final corner, but DJ Jill feeling pretty confident then. Everyone's starting to line up at the back of the field. It's a short formation lap because it is such a short circuit. 35 laps ahead of the driver is going to be a very interesting race strategy. Penalties, collisions galore in this one. It's going to be really, really interesting. DJ Jill, his second pole position of the season, and by a country margin. What can he do off the front of the grid? Can he hold the lead in towards turn 1? Can anyone stop DJ Jill winning this race? Really long hold, but the lights are out and away they go, and it looks a fairly even start at the front of the field. I think simply Superman has actually managed to get a pretty decent start from the second row around the outside. He's gone past Sinner and is trying to get past Nelly as well in towards turn 2, but cannot quite get the move done. He gets up to third place though, as further behind Jan looking down the inside of Sinner. Sinner's not had the best of starts in this race, trying to run side by side through the chicane. He gets away with it. Jan has to back out of the corner. That's opened the door massively for Hero Jokin, who's got past Jan and up into that 5th place on the road so far. So Hero Jokin's had a good start. Felgen in the other McLaren's also had a good start. He's trying to get past Jan, who struggles after that little bit of a moment alongside Sinner. Hansen looking down the inside of the McLaren driver. He lost out to the McLaren at the start of the race. Has to tuck in behind. Sean on the mediums up to 9th. He's had a brilliant start then, and he's already looking for a way past Hansen. Graham is the final person inside the top 10. Atlas Copo has dropped, so has Dundee's gone up into 12th place. Tom has gained 4 places in the opening lap so far on the soft compound tyres. It's gone down the inside of David to make that 5, so Tom is making light work of these drivers on the medium tyres. A good start for the AlphaTauri driver. That is exactly why he started on that compounded tyres. But at the front of the field, DJ Jill, 1.5 seconds clear already. He has cleared off into the distance.
Yeah, incredible. He used a lot of ERS, but yeah, he created the gap he needed, and must say he was helped a bit because Nelly didn't have the best of starts and is under massive pressure of simply Superman. Yeah, really wants to pass him and probably try to get on the back of Secret DJ Joe.
And Stinner already with a 3-second time penalty as start lap 2. That is very, very crucial for this race. That's very early on to be picking up penalties. So Stinner then already on the back foot, currently running in 4th after a poor start as well. Tom now running side by side with Secret Dundee coming down the back straight. He goes up into 12th, breezes past. He's used a lot of ERS, but Tom has had a stunning start to this race. It's the AlphaTauris at the moment that are making the biggest impression in this race so far. DJ leading the way. Tom up 6 places in the first lap and a half as they all concertina up into the hairpin. Tom starting on the softs is starting to throw himself back into the ring because of this start. He's already onto the back of Atlas Copo using that ERS, but he's not going to be close in towards the chicane. It's not a deep enough braking zone really to be trying a late diving move there either, so he'll stay in 12th place at least for the time being. Everybody amazingly at Canada got through the first lap without any contact or damage, so it's been a nice clean start for everybody through the field. I think everyone has got their front wings completely intact. Kieran Trapp is the one that's dropped to the back of the field in the Red Bull. Not been the best start for him, but he's still right on the back of the queue in cars in front. DJ Jill then leads the way from Nelly, Simply Superman your top 3, Stinner 4th, Hero Joking already starting to lose touch in 5th.
Yeah, but I must say, all these guys, incredible job. Everybody's still in there, as you said. No galore, but Secret DJ Jill you said he liked the track. I think he absolutely loves this track because he is so fast, and he used a lot of ERS to create a gap. But now he just seems like he's cruising, and Nelly's doing everything he can to stay with him.
Yeah, Nelly doing his absolute best, but at the moment just doesn't seem to have the pace at the moment. I will say that Nelly doing a good job of holding some of his ERS compared to Simply Superman behind, who has about 30% less at this point in the race. So Nelly doing a good job in that sense at least, and after a great first lap for DJ Jill, it's somewhat levelled out between DJ Jill and Nelly in terms of pace. It's remaining about 1.6 seconds as further down. Jan has got past Hirojokin into the chicane. There was a little bit of contact there as they Constantine it up. I don't know if Hirojokin's broken his front wing. I think he might have gotten away with it by the looks of things. Hansen thought about a move back past but wasn't quite close enough, so Jan then up into 5th place as Hirojokin continues to struggle. It's a good start from the McLaren, but as soon as he's got off, as soon as that one is finished, he's just starting to fall back through the field.
Yeah, incredible overtake by Jan, and yeah, I must say Hirojokin, luckily for him, he didn't damage his front wing, but yeah, maybe he can stay on the back of Jan and creep back on Stina, who's doing a good job as well. But as you said, Hirojokin looked okay in quali, but he doesn't really like racing this track. It seems.
No, Hansen there trying to go around the outside of turn 8. That is a very unorthodox move. It didn't quite work for him, but he's using up a lot of ERS here as Hansen to get the move done in very unorthodox. This doesn't really seem to be the way to go about this race. He's really going for it in odd places and has just wasted a lot of ERS in doing so. Hirojokin can just breeze back around the outside of him, coming out the corner. They're still running side by side. Hansen uses up the last of his ERS and has DRS as well to breeze up into 6th place, but now is running with absolutely no ERS at all as the Renault, even after 4 laps. So that is how quickly you can burn through ERS at the track. Hirojokin then down to 7th. Next person behind him is his teammate Felgen. Sean still running solidly at the moment in 9th on those medium compound tyres. 5 places ahead of the next medium runner. So Sean at the moment absolutely loving those medium compound tyres, and this is probably exactly why we always see him on the mediums at the start of qualifying.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he really loves the harder compound.
Atlas Copo. Yeah, Atlas Copo's had a spin coming out of turn 2 and has broken his front wing, so we've got our first casualty at the start of the race, and Kieran Trapp gets caught out by it as well in the midway through the chicane, and that causes Kieran Trapp to lose touch of the drivers in front, and yeah, big front wing damage for Atlas Copo as the understeers through turn 5. His season just goes from bad to worse. It was his best qualifying of the season so far, but he dropped places at the start and has now spun towards the back of the field. David's past Secret Dundee as well, so David up into 12th. He's starting to work his way through on those medium compound tyres. Tom's worked his way up into 11th, now he's for 10th. At the front now leads by 2.5 seconds. Nelly has got a little bit of a buffer now between himself and Simply Superman, who's in 3rd. Simply Superman still in the DRS, but not really hounding the back of the Haas car at the moment, as DJ Jill already into the pits, as is Simply Superman, so they're both in at the end of lap 5. That is very early for a set of what we would assume to be medium compound tyres.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to go in this early, as Secret Dundee gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well. Yeah, a couple of guys coming in, 4 pit stops already after 5 laps, so yeah, that's quite early, but yeah, maybe they know something we don't know, and Secret Dundee has left the session, unfortunately.
Seems like that might be a little bit of a connection issue. The problem here now for DJ Jill here is that because he's had this early pit stop, he has now come out in quite a bit amount of traffic here, and all the traffic of the cars in front are medium compound tyres. These guys will probably be going to about lap 13 or so in this race, so he's got to try and work his way through these cars, but none of these drivers in front of him are exactly slouches, as Steve has got past Flores up and towards turn 8. None of these drivers are slow. They've all been competing for podiums so far this season. Pretty much all of these drivers, apart from Stephen Flores, you've got to say, have been right up there challenging for podiums. The DJ Jill here could get stuck, and the problem is Simply Superman's pitted on the same lap, so Simply Superman is going to use this time to close back in on DJ Jill after he built that buffer. Nelly could use that time as well to try and close back in a little bit on DJ Jill as Nelly's into the pit lane. Graham was another one as well that pitted at the end of that lap, currently 18th, 8 seconds already off the back of Simply Superman as DJ Jill passes Kieran Trapp into the final chicane. So DJ Jill up 1 place already. Stinner now leads the race then, 3.6 seconds clear of Jan then. So Stinner going a little bit longer in this race, and Hirojokin has broken his front wing somewhere. I would assume out of the final chicane is where he's broken his front wing, so not been a great race so far for Hirojokin. By the way, Nelly came out in the pit lane 2 seconds behind Simply Superman. That is a massive undercut from Simply Superman.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised by that, because I thought he was going to be the big winner out of this pit stop situation, because Secret DJ Jill and Simply Superman would have yeah, got held up by the guys in front. But I think Nelly entered the pit a bit too cautious or something, because this is a lot of time to lose in one lap.
It was all in front of Secret DJ Kiki, I think, was trying for a move on Flores, I think, and it didn't come off for him. He's actually ended up running wide, and DJ for the second race in a row runs into the back of someone in a heavy braking zone. He runs into the back of Jabu this time around, gets away with it, but they're now running side by side down the straight. Stinner is now into the pit lane. Jan's staying out, so is Hansen, so they're continuing on the softs. Jabu's trying for a run on Flores here, and DJ Jill caught right in the thick of this at the moment. Simply Superman has worked his way past his teammate. DJ Jill pushing Jabu through the final corner. Gets on the ERS and is able to get past the Ferrari driver up towards turn 1. He's not quite close enough to Flores to make a move. Has to stick him behind for the time being, but this is just allowing Simply Superman to close back in. Nelly's right in there as well, now in 14th place. Stinner comes out of the pit lane, not too far behind Nelly, so Stinner's not really lost out in that pit stop phase. It's kind of where he was before the pit stops last started, so he's got fresher medium tyres, so he can go a little bit longer into this race than the drivers around him and be a bit better off later on. DJ Jill has somewhat worked his way through this pack quite nicely, and actually he's already past Flores, so it's only taken him 3 or so laps, and DJ Jill's worked his way through, but it wasn't without. It's a little bit of worries for him.
Yeah, it is, as Jabu goes past Flores as well, but goes massively wide and can hold on to the position. But Jan, further up the field, in P1 for now, is doing what he always does. He's going long, and I wonder where he is going to come out, if he can keep his tires okay and maybe overcut some of the guys that were in front of him.
I wonder if he's going to be one of these drivers that might try that one-stop strategy. Simply Superman, by the way, has got past Jabu and Flores, and they still run side by side. Jabu finally get the move done on the Haas car. Nelly's got past Kieran Chap, and you would imagine that Flores isn't going to put up that much of a fight compared to Nelly, but Nelly very slow through the front chicane and then picks up a time penalty in the process. So not working out at the moment so far for Nelly after a good start to the race. Stinner's right up there as well, but remember he has a time penalty against his name as well at this point in the race. Hansen's pitted in the Renault. He's going to come out, by the looks of it, right with Graham in towards turn 2, in fact just behind Graham, so he's lost out a bit to the Red Bull driver. Graham with that early pit stop has gained on Hansen and Hero Jokin and is now right behind Felgen, who already has a time penalty. So Graham once again working his way through quite nicely at this point in the race. We're coming up towards the end of lap 9. Jan still leads on the softs, but you could see there he's got absolutely no grip at all because he nearly completely lost the car coming out of turn 9.
Yeah, I don't know how he held that. That was incredible reflexes he showed there, because he was... Yeah, there was a big snap of oversteer, so his tires are definitely gone, and I think as he's using his overtake as well, that he's gonna come in now. And yeah, don't know if he stays out longer, if he's gonna win any time on these guys.
He's staying out.
Stays out.
Staying out a little bit longer. This suggests to me that he might be trying a one-stop strategy here to try and try something a little bit different. I mean, it's worth trying something a little bit different, but on that lap he was 1.4 seconds slower than his own personal best. He's got no pace, and DJ Jill nearly 2.5 seconds faster than Jan on that lap despite overtaking Steve. So DJ Jill absolutely flying at the moment. Simply Superman's now onto the back of Steve as well, so these two at the moment seem to be the fastest drivers on the track. And Nelly has got his way past Kiki, and is now Jabu just in front of him at the moment. Jabu picks up a time penalty. Langfell's also got a time penalty, and now Hero Jokin is the fastest driver on the track. So it's all happening at once at the moment. We're only 10 laps into this race, and half the field already with a time penalty looming over them.
Yeah, and luckily I don't think, or I just didn't notice and pay attention. I mean, that can happen to me, knowing myself. Don't think multiple penalties for one person, but yeah, this can be a track where you can see a disqualification if you're not feeling that well in the race.
Yeah, it is definitely possible. Another place now, he's past Langfell and up into 5th, but Langfell thinking about coming back at the AlphaTauri. He just doesn't have any DRS to help him with that. David meanwhile has got past Sean, so David's now up into 2nd place and is the lead medium runner. Tom penalty. Tom doing the same as Jan and continuing on the softs at the moment, and he's now got his AlphaTauri teammate right behind him, so you would imagine that Tom's not going to put up much of a fight against DJ Jill at this point in the race. Jan continues on in the lead, but he's just dropping so much time. You've got to say at this point in the race, this strategy seems to have kind of fallen out the window for Jan, because he's basically now running back with the medium runners that he started at least 5 places ahead of.
Yeah, and as you said earlier, a pit stop isn't that long here, because you just cut a lot of corners. So yeah, I can understand why he tries a one-stop strategy, but in the end I don't know if it's gonna win him enough time that he's losing on the tires now.
Yes, it's just costing so much track speed at the moment. Simply Superman, by the way, now behind Langfell, thinking about a move into turn 10, but not quite close enough on the Williams driver. Secret Digigil, as you would expect as well, has been let past by his AlphaTauri teammate, so he's up into 4th place. Hero Jokin with the time penalty now in 18th place. A lot of drivers with time penalties. Of all the people from 9th down to 20th, the only person without a time penalty is Graham, which is not really a surprise, you've got to say, at this point in the championship. It's somewhat... Yeah, into the pits then, comes down at the end of lap 11. Now we've got to see what tyres he goes onto, because if he goes onto a set of mediums, you've got to say that this strategy hasn't worked, and it is. It's a set of medium compound tyres for Jan. Yeah. Unless he thinks he can take those medium tyres to the end of the race, that is far too long to have stayed out on a set of softs. I mean, look how far he's fallen back now. Was running in a net P5 before the pit stop phase. He's now well behind Graham, and he's actually just only, I think, going to come out ahead of Hero Jokin, who had a front wing change.
Yeah. So really lost a lot of time here, but yeah, who knows? If you can do 11 laps on the softs, why not double that on the mediums? Yeah, you can maybe get it to work, but still then, in the end of the race, he's going to be in the same boat as he was at the end of his soft stint, just losing heaps of time.
Yeah, just going to be the same boat, like you say, so it's going to be crucial for him to get the most out of these medium tyres. At least the benefit for him at the moment is that he doesn't have a time penalty, which could not be said for almost everyone else in the field at the moment. Everyone else, even after 12 laps, is struggling to keep the car on the road. David, now our new race leader, having started this race in 12th place, he's got past Sean, who was the lead medium runner after the early phases, but now David has taken over that role. DJ Gill right behind Sean there, and they nearly came into contact coming out the final chicane, but DJ Gill down the inside of Sean. Sean can't really put up a fight against the AlphaTauri driver, who is up into 2nd place. Simply Superman not too far behind, but you can tell that Simply Superman at this point in the race is trying his absolute hardest to keep up with DJ Joe, and he just can't quite do it.
Yeah, he is, but still, I must say, for DJ Jill, but Simply Superman as well, and Nelly, they have been in a lot of traffic, and they've just been passing left, right, and center like they weren't there. So they're doing a great job overtaking everyone and getting the track position. And Simply Superman isn't that far behind. It's only 2 seconds between him and Hero Jokin is out.
That's coming into turn 6. That's a very odd place to go off the road, and that is a virtual safety car for these drivers. And he's gone very deep, it seems, into turn 6 and has hit the barrier. So I don't know what on earth has happened to Hero Jokin there, but he is out of the race then after such a great start to the season. It's kind of the past 2 seasons as a repeat once again for Hero Jokin. Starts off the season with a podium and then just can't really keep up that same level of performance. He's the first driver to retire from this race, and is the McLaren driver. That is him out of the running completely. Then into the pits under the virtual safety car, we see Sean and Langfell in, which is not a surprise, you've got to say. They're going to use the virtual safety car to try and lose as little time as possible. Langfell in, Sean in, Jabu in, Kieran in as well, and I believe Vlora is also into the pits, so not a shot to see them in. Virtual safety car has now ended, and Langfell has gone onto the softs.
Yeah, well, softs, and then probably going to do another pit stop, so that's okay, but he really needs to win a lot of positions now. But yeah, not the pick I would have done. I would have saved the softs for my last stint.
Yeah, I definitely would have done the same as well. I think that seems to be the faster way around this track. So pretty much everyone has made their first pit stop in this race, apart from Kiki and David. But you can tell the difference in starts of this race that those two have had, with David and Kiki on the same strategy. David in the lead by 1.7 seconds. Kiki marred in the thick of the pack at the moment in 6th place. He's just not had a good start to this race. Anna's just picked up his 2nd penalty. So Kiki not looking too comfortable at the moment in this race. Sean now with a time penalty in 11th place. He's obviously just pitted onto a set of medium compound tyres, and he's come out right behind Jan, so that's worked out quite well for Sean in that sense. Jan has still not got a penalty, neither has Graham. These two are right on the back of Felgen Hansen that do have penalties, and Stinner and Nelly are not far up the road. So at the moment, still not out of the question at this point in the race that Graham and Jan could be staring at a top 4 finish, despite strategies that don't seem to have worked in the early phases.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you can keep it clean around this track, and so far the top 2 have done that as well. But if you can keep clean here, you can gain a lot of positions because of penalties in the end. So doing a great job. I hope they can keep going like this without picking up one.
You're going to be really
the fastest lap now.
Going to be really, really crucial, and that just goes to show as well, Steve, for the fastest lap, that new tyre strategy of getting a fresh set of tyres on the undercut around this track is so powerful. The pace advantage you can get from a fresh set of tyres is brutal, and that is proven with the drivers that pitted a little bit earlier in this race. It's meant that Simply Superman and DJ Jill are now quite clear, really, of Nelly. I say that actually, and Nelly's not that far behind Simply Superman. So, despite Simply Superman getting through the traffic much quicker than Nelly, Nelly is only 1.2 seconds back. So, Nelly doing a good job currently in fourth on the road. He's dragging Stinner with him, but these two pitted a bit later than Graham, who pitted early. Graham pitted early, came out in the traffic, and he is now massively detached from Nelly and Stinner a little bit further up the road.
Yeah, and I must say, Nelly really looking strong today. We've seen his quali pace improve so far, but now his race pace is as well, because he's just slowly reeling in Simply Superman, and as you said, taking a Stinner with him. So this can be a real nice battle in a couple of laps, I think.
Yeah, definitely could be an interesting battle if they can continue that pace. You've got to say that Stinner may be looking like a little bit of a faster driver and has a lot more ERS in his back pocket, does the Ferrari man, trying to make up for a disappointing drive in China last week. So doing a good job as it stands. These two, even with the penalties they've got, are far enough ahead of the next person in line to really challenge them for that position that they don't have to really worry. Hansen now nearly 7 seconds back. It's just not really worked out for those that pitted a little bit earlier than these guys. They're just kind of mired in the pack, having struggled to get past all the traffic. So Nelly and Senna, at the moment at least, battling over that final podium spot. One thing here to note as well, DJ Jill now right on the back of David is going to look down the inside of the racing point into the final chicane. That is a bold choice to try and go for that move, and he had to back out of it because he wasn't committed enough on the brakes. David holds the place into the chicane. You would imagine DJ Jill is going to try and get the move done into turn one, but it's going to have to be a late braking move into the corner. He's very late on the brakes, but he wasn't late enough to get alongside fully into the corner. Not a deep enough braking zone. Can he go around the outside up towards turn three? He's not got the pace. David's going to hold on to the lead for the time being. David holding Secret DJ Jill up, and he's turned him.
Oh.
He's just turned him into the wall. DJ Jill's just completely turned David out of this race. I don't know if they were desynced on each other's screens or not, but David, from the lead of this race, just got spun out by DJ Jill, just coming completely out of that corner. That's a virtual safety car, and that has got to be a hands-down penalty for DJ Jill.
Yeah, I think so. Even if he wins this race, it's probably is going to be a penalty, or he really has to be desynced. I don't know. Maybe he really didn't see him because they were, not in each other, but side by side, too close for my comfort. Just let's put it that way. But it's a real shame because David was showing some pace and looked like he was having fun, and it's race over for him now.
Yeah, I was just about to say about David that he's doing a good job in the lead of this race. Obviously, one of the only drivers that stayed out after that virtual safety car, and it could have put him in a brilliant place later on. But that could have massively opened the door for Simply Superman here. Leader of the championship. David out of the race. He's second place in the championship at the moment. DJ Jill, third in the championship. Looks to easily have the pace to win this race, but now will definitely be having a steward's inquiry against his name in the AlphaTauri. So that could really hurt his result. Simply Superman here could be staring at another win this season and extending his championship lead. So doing enough at the moment in second place is the Alfa Romeo driver. They've in the last few laps as well. So Nelly in third, kind of losing time to Simply Superman in front, but he's not under masses of pressure from Stinner behind. Now that David is unfortunately out of the race after that incident, everyone has made a mandatory pit stop in this race so far. Kiki pitted on that last lap, came out in 15th place in the Alfa Romeo, so he's marred down at the bottom end of the grid at the moment. Got to say, after that crash there, really for DJ Jill and David, that's kind of taken away some of the excitement from this race, because David looked like he could have been one of those drivers working his way through the field a little bit later on. Yeah,
he could, and he was doing a great job holding up Secret DJ Jill and Simply Superman, Nelly and Stinner could have maybe come close to Secret DJ Jill if he could keep this, could have kept that up for one more lap maybe. So some of the excitement gone, but as Jan's now going past Graham on the straight, easy peasy for him. But must say, I was keeping an eye on Langfell as well. He's on the softer tires, but he isn't that much faster than the guys in front of him.
There's the disadvantage of, like you said earlier on, we mentioned that he should have really gone onto the softs at the end of the race. The problem is now, in the middle of the pack, there's not really much room for him to manoeuvre about in the field at the moment, and those soft tyres do tend to burn off quite quickly. The medium tyres do tend to be a bit of a better tyre around this track. By the way, Kiki has got past Kieran Trapp and up into 14th place. DJ Jill now with a time penalty means that only Jan and Graham have kept it clean so far in this race. So those are the only two at the moment, and I think if either of one of these gets to the end of the race without a time penalty, I might just automatically give them my driver of the day vote. But Jan and Graham doing a good job in 7th and 8th. They've got Felgen right in front, who does have a penalty. You would imagine Jan's probably going to make light work of the McLaren in front of him as he comes up towards turn 10 and then towards the back straight. Jan has got 80% ERS in his back pocket compared to the 30 that Felgen has got. Been a good debut so far for Felgen, as further up the field, Stinner has used his excess of ERS to get past Nelly. So Stinner then up into 3rd. Stinner thinking he can have a run at Simply Superman for 2nd place here.
Yeah, why not? He, as you said before, he looked the faster out of the two between him and Nelly. Maybe he is, and can get back at Simply Superman, or maybe try something. Well, probably not an undercut because his tires are fresher, but squeeze some more life out of his tires, pit a little bit later, and get him on his last stint.
Yeah, definitely possible. We'll have to wait and see what he can do in terms of pace. He is closing in on him at the moment. It's down to 1.7 between himself and Simply Superman. Of course, everyone inside the top 5 does have a penalty at the moment. We've now just got to keep an eye on what Jan's doing in terms of strategy. He's obviously got much fresher medium tyres than pretty much everybody in the field at this point in the race. He pitted very early on he pitted very late on, sorry, from the softs onto the mediums. That either suggests that he's going to go onto a set of softs at the end of the race, or that he's going to try and eke these mediums out to the end of the race. He's the only person in the field at the moment that theoretically could pull off a one-stop strategy. Everyone that started on the medium tyres has gone on to another set of medium tyres apart from Langfeld, but he is definitely not getting those softs to the end of the race. And lap 20 comes around, DJ Gill's into the pit lane, and I believe Nelly follows him in. So they're into the pits then. DJ Gill into the pits for the 2nd time in this race for another set of medium compact tyres. Now we've just got to see where he comes out relative to the traffic.
Yeah, and Nelly just on the same strategy as him, just pitting early on, going for the mediums as well, and I think they're gonna be in traffic again coming out.
As here comes Antico Gill right behind Graham up towards turn 3 and 4. Graham holds on to comes out in 6th, just ahead of Langfeld on the soft, so that worked out quite well for DJ Gill in that case. He's only about 2 seconds behind Jan as well, so doing a good job is the AlphaTauri driver, but looks like he could be having a Stewart's inquiry looming over him at the moment. Graham moves right to the wall on the right hand side of the track to hold the place, but DJ Gill, with the fresher tyres and the better ERS management, breezes around the outside of Graham, who's now on 15 lap old medium compound tyres. And just riding on board with Graham there, you can see even 15 lap old medium tyres, he's just got no pace to hold back those on fresher compounds.
Yeah, and I'm a bit surprised that Secret DJ Gill's only, when he came out, 2 seconds behind Jan, and Jan trying to nurse these tires home. So although he's going past Hansen now, we're trying to go side by side in the final chicane, and he made the move. He's gonna have a really hard time keeping Secret DJ Gill behind when he comes onto the back of him.
Yeah, it really is going to have a difficult time as DJ Gill now right up behind Hansen for that 3rd place on the road. Hansen's tyres 13 laps old. Stinner is the only one of the leaders that stayed out on the track in the Ferrari. I think he's just hoping that Nelly gets caught up in the traffic. Simply Superman's come out right behind Tom and is just ahead of Nelly. So I wonder if these guys are going to get a little bit held up at this point in the race, and that could help Stinner if he's able to get enough pace out of this next lap. Secret DJ Gill right on the back of Hansen goes to the inside for the run up towards turn 8, and that is once again another easy move for the AlphaTauri driver. He breezes up into 3rd place then, and Simply Superman on the same straight gets past Tom and up into 7th. So the fresher tyre is definitely proving to be the better option here. It seems like the two-stop strategy, at least, is the faster option. As I don't know if that was Tom that hit the wall or Nelly hit the back of Tom, but someone's broken his front wing. It is Nelly. Nelly then breaks his front wing off the back of Tom, who had a mistake through the corner.
Yeah, Tom had a little mistake, and Nelly, I think, caught out by it. Wanted to overtake, but Tom got smacked out of the wall a little bit, hitting Nelly, and that's his front wing, and it's a shame because he was doing really, really well. And yeah, front wing on this track you really need it with some fast chicanes here.
Yeah, you really do need that front wing, like you say. That is such a shame for Nelly, but he's still got a good opportunity of getting a decent result out of this race if he can keep the car on the road. Stinner then has made his pit stop. He's going to come back out onto the track right with Nelly, so actually he's not really lost anything by staying out a little bit longer. And DJ Gill has got past Jan and up into the lead once again, so DJ Gill reassumes the race lead of this one, but he's actually pulled quite a big gap on Simply Superman by pitting just that one lap earlier, so that's helped out the AlphaTauri driver no end at this point in the race. Jan now, we've just got to see what he does here. We're all coming up to lap 24. 12 laps to go when we cross the line. Jan could get these medium tyres to the end of the race. We know he's good on saving tyres. Could get them to the end. He doesn't have any penalties to his name either. You've got to say, though, with this strategy, the best he could probably hope for is maybe a 5th place finish.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I'm counting Nelly out of it now, to be honest. But yeah, these not picking up a penalty can really help him, as Graham as well. But yeah, I think I'm not sure he can make it to the end on these tires. I hope he can. If he tries it, I hope he can. But I think his tires are just gonna blow.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult for him to pull this one off. Sean passes Langfell in the meantime as well, up into 4th. So Langfell putting on the sauce, hasn't gained really anything at all. He's kind of ended up where he started after coming out the pit lane. He's now got Simply Superman right behind him. Stinner has passed Nelly as well for that net 3rd place in the race. And Stinner, now that Simply Superman's a little bit stuck, Stinner now has an opportunity to try and get past Simply Superman, which could be, who knows, for the net race lead, depending on whether Secret DJ Jill does have a penalty applied to him later on after the race is finished. We'll have to wait and see. This could be for the net race lead of this one. So Stinner really closing in on the back of the Alfa Romeo for that 6th place on the road. Nelly runs in the net P4. Other people that we haven't really mentioned so far in this race, you've got to say, people like Kiki at the moment, who's made his first pit stop, has got to make another pit stop in this race. Currently 11th on the road. For all the people that's pitted, he's only really ahead of Kieran Chapp, Steve and Flores, and Kieran Chapp and Steve are kind of the only ones that haven't really had any problems in this race. So Kiki just not look like he's had any pace today in the Alfa Romeo.
No, definitely not a track that suits him, as Graham goes past Flores as well, and probably gonna have DRS here. But not Kiki as they, probably not his track. They're still side by side. Oh no, Graham passed him now. Not his track, not having fun today, so probably really wants this race to finish.
Definitely does, yeah. Langfell, by the way, put on another set of soft compound tyres, so he's gone for the medium soft strategy. He's going to come out in 13th place on the road in a bit of clean air. He's got Tom and Hansen right behind him, so Tom's pitted for a 2nd time in this race, and he's going to come out quite far back in the field at the moment, in 15th place, a little bit further down than I think he initially expected to be. So not been so good this second half of this race for Hansen. He was running up with Jan a little bit earlier on, so that maybe suggests that he's had a front wing change in the pit lane that's cost him so much time. Stinner now right on the back of Sean for P4 on the road. He's trying to keep up with Simply Superman in front, who has managed to get past the Mercedes driver, but he just can't find a way through at the hairpin. He must, though, have enough speed down the straight, as Sean's already derating, so this is going to be a pretty easy move for Stinner. He's going to breeze up to the back of the Mercedes driver and breeze down the inside. Stinner then up into 4th on the road, and the top 4 now. This looks like it could be the top 4 that finish this race, but maybe just not in this order.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, Sean just went into the pits. Yeah, I think the top 4 are going to stay the top 4, and yeah, Secret DJ Jill probably trying to make the gap as big as he can between him and Jen, and probably in the end of the race between him and Simply Superman. But yeah, I think it's gonna stay like this, or at least Jen's gonna try to end up in the top 4.
Yeah, going to try and do something like that. Try something a little bit different. And the penalties as well give him a little bit of an advantage over Simply Superman and Stinner behind. We'll double check and see what penalties they have. Simply Superman with the 1 penalty. Stinner has 2 penalties to his name at the moment. So Jan could capitalise on Stinner in that sense. He could steal a podium from this race if he decides to stay out on the track. The person at the moment with the most penalties is Kiki with... It's not been a good race so far for Kiki, currently in 7th place, still yet to make his final stop in this race. Looking a bit further down to people that have made their second stops, you've got Felgen and Graham are the next people that have made their second stops in this race. Graham still without a penalty, stuck behind Felgen, who's stuck behind Kieran Trapp, so a little bit of a queue here. And you've got to say, at this point in the race, Graham and Felgen have got to get a move on, because they're under threat from the soft runners behind now, as Flores is going to get overtaken by Langfell for 11th place on the road.
Yeah, they are, but I don't think Kieran is going to hold up Graham a lot as their teammates. So probably gonna let him pass, as Kieran needs to pit, also pit again. But yeah, Langfell really getting a move on, setting the fastest lap as well now. So he has the speed, but yeah, most important thing, does he still have the speed in the end of the race? He really needs to pass people quickly if he wants to end up higher.
Yeah, it really does. Langfell, once again, these alternate strategies are really working for the Williams man, but at the moment 11th place is not the result he is looking for. He's looking for something a little bit better. He's still got 3 or 4 people in front of him that are still yet to make their second stop in this race, so still a few places to be gained for the Williams driver. Jan, while he looks like he is going to try and stay out to the end of this race, if he pits now, you've got to say he comes out behind some of the soft runners, so he puts himself out of contention for a good result. But if he stays out, he's losing so much time now. He's already 6.5 seconds behind Secret DJ Jill. So Jan here, he's just going to have to cling on really until the end of the race.
Yeah, he does, and he just crossed the point now that it's you can justify to yourself that the pit stop is okay. If he does it now, as you said, he's just gonna drop in the standings, and yeah, probably gonna have trouble overtaking people. But now, yeah, staying out, he's gonna do the same. So I think for now, as the crossover point has been, it's just best to stay out on track and just make the best of it.
Yeah, just trying to do what he can in this race, and those penalties as well still going to help him out as it stands, so still on for a good result. Nelly, after that front wing damage, is just falling back from these guys now, staying out with that broken front wing, currently 5th on the road at the moment, and has got 2 penalties to his name, so Falcon and Graham could get within penalty range very shortly with the damage he's got. Graham actually did get a little bit held up by his teammate. He's now dropped to 2.5 seconds behind Felgen, who runs in 6th place. Graham in 7th, and has now got 3 soft runners directly behind him in Langfell, Sean and Hansen. All 3 of these drivers have been fast in this race. You've got to say, Langfell looks like he's got the pace to breeze past Graham here. Graham, you've always got to say, Graham, in some races this season, he doesn't put himself in tricky situations. He plays it very safe, and it usually rewards him. But here, it looks like he's almost played it too safe. He's been too kind in the traffic, and because of that, he's cost himself track time that could have put him right up where Nelly is at this point in the race.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I must say, in the longer turns...
There was contact there. Langfell,
yeah,
going past Graham, just turned back across Graham in the braking zone. So Graham's had to cut across the grass, gets away without getting a penalty for it. But Graham dropping to 10th. That might be another penalty for Langfell there. That was a clear move in the braking zone for the Williams driver.
Yeah, it was. He really banged onto the side, left side of Graham there in the braking zone. So yeah, didn't look that good, and yeah, Graham just lost multiple positions because of that. And Simply Superman just passed Jen, or they touch as well.
Yeah, it's getting a bit messy now at this point in the race, and now here's an opportunity for Stinner to try and
Stinner.
attack. Yeah, he's got a brilliant run. Simply Superman's D-rating. Jan doesn't have the grip. Is Stinner going to go around the outside of the pair of them here at the chicane? He's incredibly late on the brakes, and he pulls it off. That is a brilliant move from Stinner, and Jan picks up a time penalty crucially in that as well. So his clean record is now gone in this race. Stinner, that was really well read. That were the 2 drivers in front battling into the hairpin, costing themselves time down the straight, and Stinner passes the pair of them. Now all Stinner's got to do is try and build 3 seconds on Simply Superman. Actually, no, he doesn't even need to do that, because Simply Superman's picked up another penalty, so he's just got to build that 3 seconds over Jan, which you've got to say is going to be pretty easy.
Yeah, both Simply Superman and Jen picked up a penalty in the same corner because Stinner overtook them. But yeah, that was great. Simply Superman and Jen fighting over a position, and it's just like, yeah, what was it? The 3 dogs on the bone?
I don't know the same myself, if I'm completely honest, but we'll say that Stinner read that one pretty well. We'll just go with that Stinner stayed back, had the ERS in hand, and saw the 2 drivers in front kind of fighting into turn 10, which we've seen a lot of drivers try moves into turn 10. Seems kind of counterproductive, considering you've then got 2 DRS zones straight after that, and that just did not work for Simply Superman at all. Maybe too eager to get past the racing point, ended up costing himself more than he gained. So down to 3rd goes Simply Superman. Stinner then up into 2nd place, but he's now 8.5 seconds behind DJ Jill, who continues to lead this race. This win, remember, is still a little bit in doubt for the AlphaTauri driver after big contact earlier on with David that put David out of the race from what a position that you've got to say David, when he came out of the pit lanes, you've got to say David would have been well clear of this battle between Felgen and Langfell, at least in 6th place, possibly in 5th.
Yeah, I think he would have. I mean, it's always hard to say because he's out, but yeah, I think he would have been in front of these guys, and yeah, fighting for well, maybe a podium.
Yeah, it could have been very possible. That would have been a great recovery from a 12th place qualifying position, but as it stands, he's going to score no points on this race, and that's going to drop him big time in the championship with DJ Jill at the very front and Jan right up there as well. Felgen now right on the back of Nelly for 5th place. This has been a good race so far from Felgen, the reserve driver in the McLaren. Came in, qualified inside the top 10, and has outshone Hirojokin in this race so far. He's got to get past Nelly though pretty quickly, because he's got Langfeld and Sean and Hansen all closing in on him very quickly. This train of 3 soft runners really starting to close in on these drivers in front. Jabu not far out of it as well in the Ferrari, currently looking at 10th place on the road, having started this race from stone dead last. Felgen then breezes past Nelly with that front wing damage. Felgen then up into 5th on the road, and Nelly, you've got to say, is going to be easy meat for Langfeld, Sean and Hansen behind. Jabu gets past Graham and is inside the top 10. Graham's still penalty free. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. That is Flores that has spun seemingly. He's spun down at turn 10 chicane for some reason. I think he's got away with no damage, but Flores in 16th place, not having the race that he would have wanted. We've got 3 laps to go when we next cross the line. DJ Gill leads by 9.3 seconds. The battle now is whether Simply Superman can get back past Stinner for 2nd place on the road.
Yeah, and to be honest, it doesn't seem like it. He is back in DRS now, but Stinner really looking fast on the lighter cars, because they've burned a lot of fuel. But yeah, who knows? Simply Superman, if his straight line speed is okay, he can come back. I think this is a bit too early on this DRS straight, but if he can come close and keep within DRS, he still has a chance.
Yeah, Jan here, by the way, 9 seconds clear of Felgen with 3 laps to go. You've got to say that Jan's P4 looks safe unless he gets a puncture or damage at this point in the race. So the one-stop strategy has somewhat worked for Jan in that sense, that he's got himself 4th on the road. We've got Kiki round, so Kiki, another horrid race. So the Alfa Romeo driver spins coming out of turn 10, has broken his front wing. He drops down to 15th place, and that will be him into the pit lane, and I wouldn't be surprised if he retires from this race as well. Does Kiki. Absolute disaster of a season so far from the Alfa Romeo drivers. Hansen, meanwhile, goes around the outside of Sean at turn 1, down the inside for 2. Looks like he's going to hold the move on the exit of the corner. Sean trying to come back at him, coming up towards turn 3, but Hansen then up into 8th place. So Hansen then in the Renault up to 8th. He's got Langfeld right in front of him, and Nelly just in front of that as well. Nelly, though, doing a solid job of holding Langfeld up, could save Felgen a 5th place finish in this race.
Yeah, it really can. And Langfeld trying everything to overtake Nelly, but yeah, it just showed he stayed out with wing damage. Nelly is a fighter, and not making it easy for Langfeld, and that gave opportunity to Hansen and Sean as well. So maybe we're just going to see the same as Stinner did. One guy passing multiple cars. Sean went really, really late there. Too late.
Too late on the brakes, ended up running into the side of Langfeld. They get away with it, but that's given Nelly a bit of breathing space. And Secret DJ Jill spun. DJ Jill has spun coming out of turn 2. Now, has he picked up any damage? Sinner's just picked up another penalty, by the way. So that gives Simply Superman 2nd back. He has, I think. I don't know if there was a lot of understeer there for DJ Jill. He has picked up a lot of front wing damage. So for the 2nd race in a row, in a really good place in the race, DJ Jill has made a crucial error and has broken his front wing. Now, he's got to hope that he can hold on for the final lap. He's probably going to stay out on the track. But Stinner's got 9 seconds of penalty. Simply Superman's got 6. So Simply Superman here has got to pass DJ Jill and build a 3-second gap if he wants to win this race. It's going to be a very interesting final lap. Secret DJ Jill's going to have no pace with that broken front wing whatsoever. Jabu, by the way, has caught all those soft runners in 10th, and he's looking at a really good result from last on the grid. He's absolutely flying in the Ferrari. DJ Jill then now only a 2nd clear, but like I said, 2nd race in a row where DJ Jill has looked like he could have got a possible win out of it, and has thrown it away through a very small, for a minor but somewhat avoidable mistake.
Yeah,
that's Stinner in the wall. And now it's Simply Superman going to try and come down the inside area, going to breeze past Simply Superman. He's going to try and get past DJ Jill in the same process as well. And DJ Jill moving over in the braking zone, I think, just in desperation, trying to hold on. As there's Stinner's round, Stinner's spun coming through turn 2. I don't think if that was contact off the side of one of those cars, but Jan's now up into 3rd place. Simply Superman now leads then. So Simply Superman leads. Hansen's retired in the pit lane.
Wow.
At the end of this lap, at the end of lap 34, which is a very bizarre call from a man who was running in 8th place. What on earth has this final lap been? This final lap has absolutely blown up in our faces. Simply Superman, I think, has got enough of a gap now easily to win this race. I don't know what has happened in the final 2 laps, how we've gone from Simply Superman being nowhere down in 3rd and DJ Gill dominating this race, to Simply Superman leading this race by a country margin. Now it's all about whether Jan can pass DJ Gill on track. It's very possible that he could do so. It's only 2 seconds, but Simply Superman, he's going to be thinking Christmas has come 250 days early. That is a massive gift for Simply Superman, who leads this race by 6 seconds. He comes up to the final chicane, and for the second time this season, Simply Superman in the Alfa Romeo is going to win in TTML Division 3. The most unlikely circumstances. Simply Superman is your race winner. DJ Gill is going to be close with Janet to the line, but he's done just enough to hold on to second place with that damage at the final chicane. Jan gets into third place. Actually, Secret DJ Gill threw that car into the final chicane and broke his front wing. That's how he held on to that second place finish. Stinner gets fourth on the road ahead of Felgen. Despite a spin, Stinner still holds on to fourth. Nearly sixth. Sean ends up in seventh. Where is Graham going to end up penalty-wise? Graham ends up sixth after crossing the line in 11th place. So that is a massive benefit for Graham. He was the only one that kept it clean in that race. That proves why it's so crucial to keep penalties low in this event. He jumps up into 6th place. I don't know what on earth happened on that final lap, but Simply Superman has somehow come away with a race victory.
Yeah, I thought we were just gonna have an easy job finishing this off. 2 laps to go, and it happened everywhere. Sector 1, 2, 3, everywhere. Just cars flew off, front wings flew off. People, yeah, just like monkeys fight. I don't know how to say it differently. It's just everything happened in the final 2 laps.
That was such a bizarre end to the race. I can't remember at the end of a race that was that bizarre. But DJ Gill, from a near 10-second lead, spins out at turn 2, just seemingly on traction, and breaks his front wing. And he could have cruised to the end of the race 5 seconds a lap slower than anyone else, and he still would have won that race. That is an absolute disaster for DJ Gill, who loses what would have been a comfortable victory and gifts the victory to the man who was leading the championship of all people. So Simply Superman is our first repeat winner of the season. Brilliant stuff from Simply Superman. He, in somewhat lucky circumstances, ended up in the race lead at the end of that one, but still it's a win nonetheless for the Alfa Romeo driver. DJ Gill, after that mistake, drops to second. The only person on a one-stop strategy, Jan, ends up in third. So that worked out pretty well for the Racing Point. It was very nearly second place as well. Just missed out on that, but that is his second third place finish in a row for the Racing Point driver, who continues to back up the podiums this season. Stinner with his best result in TTML in fourth. Felgen with a great result in fifth. Graham, the only driver without a penalty, in sixth place, having crossed the line 11th, so that paid off really nicely for him. Nearly 7th after damage late on, where he could have been in that battle with the leaders without that front wing damage. Sean at Langfell and Tom at round off the top 10. Jabu in 11th ahead of Kieran, Steve, Flores, Kiki, Secret Dundee and Atlas Copo. Your finishers. Hansen retired, so did David after contact with DJ Gill, and Hero Joking after contact with the ball at turn 6. That was a very hectic race, a race of attrition, a race of strategy, a race of penalties, and somehow it was Simply Superman that won that race. DJ Gill, second week in a row, bottles a really great chance to win a race.
Yeah, he could almost taste the podium where he was, and I believe he was almost 10 seconds in front of Simply Superman. So, yeah, don't know if he wanted to go for the fastest lap as well, but in the end, great present for Simply Superman, and yeah, he's just gifted his second win this season.
And that is definitely something that I imagine Simply Superman wasn't expecting going into the race after qualifying. You've got to say, after qualifying, DJ Gill had one hand on that winner's trophy after that qualifying session, but somehow he didn't come away with a race victory, which is crucial in this championship. You've got to make the most of every situation you're in. You can't get too comfortable. It seems like DJ Gill might have got too comfortable and threw the race victory away. What a crazy end to the Canadian race. That was absolutely bizarre, and Season 4 continues to deliver some wild upsets, and Jan once again on the podium as well. He's making a big name for himself in this championship battle as well. While he's not winning races, he is incredibly consistent and right up there. One person that you've got to feel sorry for in that race was David, taken out through no fault of his own.
Yeah, that was a really bizarre incident with David, and a bit unnecessary. Yeah, really unfortunate for him. And yeah, what to say of Jan? I didn't believe he could have pulled it off, but he's really doing everything that is within his power to stay up there, up the podium. Even one stop was where I didn't believe it was possible. But yeah, that's why I am here and not driving in Division 3, so that's the other side of it. But yeah, in the end, great race, and yeah, it's always fun to see some unexpected things at the end of the race.
Yeah, we do like a bit of unpredictability, and that was
Yeah.
certainly unpredictable. I don't think anyone would have predicted those final 2 laps. Before we finish off the stream though today, Conti, I'm going to ask you for your driver of the day. Who do you think is going to take that award for you?
Yeah, there is multiple, but I think you're gonna be choosing the same one. I'm gonna go for Graham because he just didn't pick up a penalty and jumped from 11 to what was it, sixth
Yeah.
because of that
See,
that
I,
clean
I,
drive.
I did say in the stream that I was going to give it to the person
Yeah,
that got no penalties, but I think I'm just going to go back on my own word. I think I'm actually going to give my driver of the day to Jan
yeah,
for that one-stop strategy
yeah,
because that was a really bizarre strategy that no one else thought of and no one else no one else wanted to try and pull off, and Jan made it work for himself. Nearly got a second place finish out of it, gets a podium result, so a brilliant result at the end of the day for the Racing Point driver, despite a strategy that on any other day probably wouldn't have worked. So he gets my driver of the day vote. But that is where we're going to finish off the stream today, guys. That was a crazy round 4 of season 4. Who knows what round 5 is going to bring us? Going to double check quickly as well to see where we are heading for the 5th round of the season. It's going to be a continuation of hopefully a really great season. I think next time we are going to Hungary, so we're going somewhere but qualifying is very important, so look out for that one to be maybe a close battle between DJ Jill and Simply Superman once again, or we could see someone new jump right up to the front. We've seen Stinner set good quality laps, Nelly's improving his qualifying pace, and the 2 Racing Points, you can never count them out. Anything can happen. But that is where we're going to finish off today. Tune in to League Racing TV tomorrow at 8 PM for Divisions 4 and 5. They're sure to be great races as well. Canada always provides a great race. We are back this time next Thursday at 8 PM for the round 5 of the season. But for myself and Conti, just thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.